A Passion for Mushrooms by Chrononautical. Chapter 33. Awakening. On the trip back to the mountain from Dale, Bilbo rode with Thorin on his war-goat. He was too weak to ride alone, and he was certainly in no shape for the long walk. A great black war-goat would not have been a hobbit's first choice for transportation, but with Thorin at the reins it was not so bad. Indeed, in other circumstances, it would have been a downright inspiring position. Seated with Thorin flush against his back, those strong arms on either side of him holding the reins, Bilbo's tired mind whirled with possibilities. Unfortunately, the hobbit was too weak from his poisoning to truly enjoy it. Snuggling back against Thorin's chest, he shut his eyes for a few minutes, trusting the king to see them home safely. When he woke, it was to unfamiliar surroundings. It took him a long moment to realize that he was in Erebor, not riding with Thorin. Since he could still smell the rich incense that trailed the king-like music, Thorin could not be far. Yet Bilbo did not know where he was. The comfortable bed was much larger than Bilbo's own, with smooth silk sheets instead of simple linen. Looking up, the hobbit saw elaborate geometric patterns of gold laid in the stone on the ceiling. Looking left, he saw space enough in the bed for another person, though Bilbo was quite alone. On his right, however, was a piping hot cup of ginger tea sitting on the nightstand. That was very welcome, for his stomach was still a little queasy. Stretching a bit, Bilbo sat up and helped himself to the tea. It was delicious, and he allowed himself to breathe deeply as he drank, gathering his strength. Then he set the cup and saucer aside and went to find someone to scold for letting him sleep. He did not have to go far. The bedroom opened out onto Thorin's sitting room. The king was there, staring at the mosaic which depicted the death of Smaug and the battle of the 5 armies. It really was a beautiful piece of work, showing as it did the king slaying Azog with Fili and Kili fighting by his side. All of the members of the company were immortalized, and even Bard was there shooting down the dragon. Yet it was to the hobbit holding the Arkenstone amidst this chaos that the king's eyes seemed to be drawn. Watching Thorin stare at Bilbo's face on the wall quite obliterated any desire the hobbit had to lecture the dwarf. He looked almost lost, far younger than his 200 years could count, and so very alone. Depositing himself in the king's lap seemed like a good way for the hobbit to announce his presence. It did make Thorin smile. Wrapping his arms around Bilbo, the king kissed him gently and held him close.
"There is more tea in the fire, if it would soothe you,"
Thorin said softly.
Owen said it would help.
In a minute, Bilbo said. I am quite comfortable here, though I shall not forgive you if I have missed the wedding.
Peace.
Thorin chuckled.
We have an hour yet until the appointed time. Dis and Fili have agreed to see to the other festivities in my absence, but only the king can join a new member to the house of Durin. The wedding cannot happen without me, so you need not fear missing it.
Oh, good. Bilbo tucked his head a little more comfortably into the curve of Thorin's neck. I was rather surprised to wake up in your bed. You know, among my people it is considered polite to ask before taking someone to bed. Humming in gentle agreement, Thorin said,
Exactly as it is among dwarves, no doubt. But I could not shake the fear that some trap might yet be hidden in your room. But forgive me.
Bilbo found that he could not quite manage to fear poison or assassination plots, while seated so very comfortably in Thorin's lap. He could, however, easily forgive the king for anything in the world. Of course, I only said that you ought to ask, not that I have any objections to going to bed with you. The dwarf's breath hitched in a rather gratifying way.
Then I ask you to come to bed with me.
Oh, hush! Bilbo laughed a little and pushed playfully at Thorin's shoulder. I am in no shape for such games. I apologize if I got your hopes up with my phrasing, but I need to have another cup of tea and clean up a bit for the wedding. We do not have time for anything else.
Of course.
Thorin pressed a kiss to Bilbo's temple.
I would be quite lost without you to guide me, darling. What I should have asked is if you would consent in the future to share my bed, tonight and all other nights, to sleep at my side, that we need not be parted when night's curtain draws the mountain into slumber.
That was very sweet. Bilbo did not know quite what to say in response. He kissed Thorin on his lips very softly. I suppose I could get used to all this opulence if it means sleeping by your side, he said, trying to make light of the confession. Though I am quite used to my comfortable little hobbit room. The smile that broke across Thorin's face was as bright as the dawn, and Bilbo felt himself turning toward the king like a sunflower.
Only say the word, my hobbit, and all of my gilded plates can be replaced with pottery. I would trade silk for linen in a heartbeat to have you near.
Bilbo laughed, patting the king's bearded cheek, came so very naturally. Oh, you needn't worry. I shall get used to looking at my own likeness on the wall eventually. Thorin arched an eyebrow.
It is the mural which bothers you.
No, of course not.
It does.
Thorin frowned.
I know my artistry with stone is poor, but I thought your likeness good.
It is very good! Bilbo took a deep breath, knowing Thorin would not believe him until he admitted the truth of the matter. I have wondered, just in passing, here and there, when I happened to glance at it, why you would choose to immortalize me stealing from you instead of any of the other things that I did. A sharp laugh seemed to spring from Thorin's throat, unbidden. He stared at Bilbo in surprise, and then his face softened once more into that warm smile that always made the hobbit want to press close. In fact, Bilbo wondered if he really was too tired to go to bed when Thorin smiled in that way.
Still, you do not understand, Bilbo. I did not show you stealing. I showed you holding the heart of the mountain.
Bilbo stared, but the king was not finished.
This wall was the work of many long nights, when I could not sleep, for dreaming of my myriad mistakes and the losses we endured in the battle. I would make my little stone pictures to remind myself that we triumphed in the end. In those days I did not even dare hope you might one day look upon it, for you seemed to flee my presence at every turn. I cannot tell you how many hours I spent cursing my madness for costing me your friendship, though I know now that you had reasons of your own for avoiding me, and refusing what I did not dare call a gift.
Oh, Thorin!
So I crafted here a likeness of you, which would look upon me kindly no matter what I did, and I put into his hands the orchid stone, as my heart is in your hands always. Even if you should return to your shire, I thought I should at least have the memory of you, as well as the certainty that if I had put my faith in your hands from the first, I might at least have kept your good opinion, whether or not I lost you.
Thorin! Bilbo could not stand to hear how unhappy the king had been. Thorin, you will never lose me. I was yours long before we ever came to the mountain. Oh, you suffered so needlessly. I cannot believe I was too stupid to tell you how I loved you. Thorin's laugh was a broken thing.
Yet I nearly lost you today.
I am well, Bilbo said quickly. I am perfectly well. Thorin shook his head.
Nori and Dis both warned me that Doran was a danger, though they only suspected he would try to kill Tariel. Balin wanted to ban him from the mountain to begin with. His reputation among the dwarves of the Iron Hills was as one who exploited the labor of others for his own gain. Even you told me time and again that he hated all but the dwarves and openly spoke nothing but vitriol to you. In ignoring my every advisor, I practically handed you to him as a sacrifice to his hateful ideals.
You didn't! Bilbo kissed Thorin's beard again. You gave him a chance. Very nobly, I might add. All you did was give him a chance to make a home inedible, the same chance you wanted to give to every dwarf. It is not your fault if he brought such hatred with him, nor that he failed to be the dwarf you hoped he might have been. Thorin looked at Bilbo, and the hobbit was quite aware that the king was keeping silent because he did not want to argue, not because he agreed.
I am very glad that I yet have more of you than stone on the wall,
Bilbo said very quietly. Trembling slightly, whether it was from weakness or emotion, even Bilbo did not know, the hobbit stroked Thorin's hair. You have all of me, Thorin. We won! We won that battle on the wall, and we have won today's as well. There is no need for struggle or heartbreak or staring lonesomely at cold stone. Dropping a gentle kiss to his hobbit's mouth, the king smiled once more.
Almost I can believe that, when I have you in my arms.
Well, Bilbo could not say anything to that, could he? Hopping up, he took Thorin by the hand. Fine, the hobbit said. 15 minutes, though. We are not going to be late to the wedding.
Bilbo?
Adorably confused was a much better look for Thorin than depressed and self-loathing. I suppose we are going to bed after all, but only for a little while. Laughing, the dwarf sprang up to follow his hobbit eagerly. If they were more than 15 minutes about it, they still managed to be on time for the wedding.